So for our 16th lesson, we looked at aesthetics in architecture. And here's the big question. What makes some dwellings more aesthetically pleasing than others? And maybe architecture isn't the best word. Architecture is a very complicated, involved field of study. We're only doing this for one day, so we're not going to be looking at the historical backstory of the Taj Mahal or the cultural diffusion of the Hagia Sophia, and here's the minarets and the Roman influence of the dome. That's for another day. We're going to keep it simple and practical. We're going to look at houses because the majority of you will be seeking out a house when you are adults. And the first thing we did, some of you thought I was a little bit crazy. I gave you some old school Crayola markers and a white sheet of paper. And I said, within reason, you can pretend you got rich, you're making a real good living. Draw your dream house. And people had some fun with it. And what was interesting to me was it was very reflective of the individual. Some people had big, elaborate dwellings. Others had very small dwellings, but nature was very important to them, and certain styles. And we colored a picture for a while. And after we did that, I hit you with the academic stuff. And I asked you to look at your drawing. And I asked you to look at it along these 6 lines. As an art form, what was the artistic merit of your creation? If you look at your home, is there any artistic merit? The objects that you chose. Now, a lot of people chose things such as pools and greenhouses and certain pieces of art. You know, how is that different than other objects? How is it reflective of you? What objects did you place there? Was it aesthetically pleasing? Was it appropriate? And here's the big troika, the trifecta here. In looking at your house, is it structurally sound? Is it strong, beautiful, and is it useful? Is it user-friendly? And that's a hard balance to strike. Sometimes you have these really strong houses. They don't look very good. Sometimes they're very user-friendly, but they might be kind of ugly. Can you get all 3 of these? What type of home was it? And you don't know that yet. I'm going to show you some in a minute. I asked you to look at these types of houses coming up and connect it with your house. What is its meaning? What is the architect trying to express? Now, you are the architect in this case with your Crayolas. What were you trying to express? And then the 6th item, the social and moral features. And some of you had $30,000 enormous, or not 30,000 square feet, not dollars. It could be a lot more than that. 30,000 square feet homes for one person. Is that environmentally sound? Is your house going to make a better society? Is it ethical? Is it moral? Some people could give a hoot. They're saying, hey, this is my house, this is my money, and that's the way it is. So, again, the question, what makes one dwelling more aesthetically pleasing using the criteria I just showed you? Now, here's the styles. I'm going to ask you to look at these. And with your PowerPoint, you went through these, and it was interesting listening to you that you were assigning moods and settings and even gender. You know, this is a manly house. This is a feminine house. Whatever. This isn't for here. This is for there. So here's the styles. This is called Adobe Revival and kind of has a Southwest vibe to me. Beach. Looks beautiful till the hurricane comes in. That's what some people said. Bungalow. Kind of quaint. Some people said, you know, this is a perfect place to raise a family if you're going down that road, a bungalow. Cape Cod. And people were throwing out communities that they traveled to. They said, Cape Cod. Oh, you know, I see a lot of these in, you know, whatever town. Colonial. Contemporary. Contemporary Craftsman. And some people looked at this like, oh my goodness, look at that house, it's beautiful. Other people are saying, no way, too much house, too much maintenance. Country. That's pretty. But again, would it look good in an urban setting? Maybe, maybe not. Craftsman. You know, some people are throwing out, oh, that's Northville. That's Northville. Oh my God, I've seen all those in Northville. Yeah, and you see communities that have a certain ambiance. They have a certain vibe based upon the preponderance of the homes that they build there. Here's English Cottage. Feel like I should be drinking tea there. Ivy on the wall. Farmhouse. Big. There have a lot of people living there, I would think. Federal Colonial. Some people said Ann Arbor. Holy cow, that's Ann Arbor. Yeah, it is Ann Arbor. Florida. There's truth in advertising. I can see that in Miami. French. Ooh la la. Look at that stonework. I mean, in terms of strength, my goodness, the stonework is absolutely tremendous. Geodesic Dome. Now, some people say, oh my goodness, that's ugly. Well, it's very practical. It's easy to heat. It can survive any natural disaster just about. Geodesic Dome. Georgian. I had kids say, oh my God, it looks like a funeral home. It might. I don't know if you want to live in a funeral home. Greek Revival. Hopefully you remember your history and the rationale behind the Greeks building their structures. Log home. I want a husky and a cup of coffee and a fire. And I don't think I'm going anywhere. Mediterranean. Ooh, you see that in Italy? Retiring in that? Nice. Mid-century modern. Some people said, oh my God, look at all that natural light. Beautiful. And other people said, I don't want people looking in. So maybe this needs to be tucked away from other people, considering how open it is. Modern. This drew really mixed reactions on how people viewed that one. Mountain. Pretty. Northwest, and you can see this has a lot of practicality here. These very pronounced steep roofs to keep the snow off. And you can see it would be very hard for snow to stick on those. Prairie. And some people said, hey, these are kind of looking somewhat similar. And I've seen houses that have aspects of all of these. Yeah, good eye. And architects will take pieces of both and sometimes blend some. Here's ranch. Practical, you know, not dealing with stairs. If you were older, I think that's a good house. Shingle. Almost looks like my daughter's dollhouse I built for her when she was little. Spanish. I had somebody say, looks like a really bad Mexican restaurant. Well, maybe, maybe not. Probably from these shingles. Southern. I've had people say, it looks like a plantation. It has a little too much of a, you know, dark chapter in our history vibe, you know, like some really mean person drinking a mint julep on the porch and whatnot. Southwest. And again, this is from practicality. You know, being from Detroit, we don't see these types of houses, but in the desert, is this a very sound, practical dwelling? Traditional. 3-car garage, all right. Tudor, and very Grosse Pointe. If you go to Grosse Pointe, you see these left and right. And again, these types of homes take on a certain ambiance of the community. Tuscan, very nice. Victorian. And again, you see downtown Northville have quite a few of these types of houses. A lot of upkeep, but some people like them, some people don't. So anyway, now that you've looked at them and you have the time with the PowerPoint to look at those in more detail than I went through, and what type of house is the most in line with your aesthetic? Which is the least? And I asked you to explain your rationale using the criteria given to you, and again to repeat it, looking at a house as a form of art. What objects did you place in the house to enhance or take away from the aesthetic value? Those properties of strength, beauty, and utility combined. Hard trifecta to hit. What type did you choose? Which one is most in line with you? So when you are seeking out homes, which type of house you're going to be looking at? Does it have any meaning? Is there anything deeper than the actual dwelling? And is it a socially and morally correct way? And again, of these 6, some people focused in. They said, you know, this little piggy built his house out of bricks, and I'm going to keep it strong. That's all that matters to me. Other people are saying, hey, it's all about being pretty. Some people did not want a lot of house. They said, you know what, a lot of house is going to take my money. It's going to take my time. I'd rather have a small place with a lot of nature. Again, it's a very personal thing that you're looking at. And, you know, it's just kind of a cool exploration. And again, aesthetics applies to lots of things in life. And we've already talked about human faces and beauty and attraction. And we've talked about music. And we've talked about painting. But houses certainly apply as well. So thank you for watching.